No matter how much pressure you endured in office, it was always said that you were a fabulous family man, a great husband and a great father. You and Samantha had 4 children. Is it 2 boys and 2 girls?
That's right.
And Ivan had an unusual disease and didn't survive it. So could you talk to us about that and about how that affected you, and to what extent did it actually affect your thinking about policy for?
Well, it had a huge effect on us. I mean, you imagine we didn't have children for 5 years, we waited, and then your first child, you're so excited, and then Ivan was born, and pretty soon we found out that he had a condition called Ohtahara syndrome, incredibly rare. And like many of these syndromes, it's really just a description of some symptoms. So unbelievably bad epilepsy. I mean, sometimes he would have 20 to 30 seizures a day. Sometimes they could last up to an hour. He was quadriplegic. He couldn't really move his arms or his legs. He couldn't communicate, but he had a wonderful smile, and we loved him. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss him. But he did have a big influence on teaching us about that whole world of special schools and assessments and hospitals and tests and all of that. And I found out more about that world. But I think it also, for the purposes of this conference and the biotech industry, it had a big influence on my thinking about science and discovery and life sciences. This was in the early 2000s, when you had genetic counseling about whether this would happen again, in its infancy, you're basically told, well, it might be genetic, in which case maybe a 1 in 4 chance, or it might not be genetic, in which case 1 in several 100,000. So we'll give you a blended probability of 1 in 20. Now, I remember how few of my father's 20-to-1 shots ever came home, and luckily we decided to go on and have more children, and they're all happy and healthy. But it did make me think there's so much more we could do to help progress in genetics and genomics and in drug discovery and understanding of these things. And that was one of the reasons why, as Prime Minister, I commissioned this 100,000 genomes project. And I had the first sequenced genome on my desk because I felt, partly because of the amazing scientific work that was done, Watson and Crick, Sanger, all the work that you've been doing here in California, we were discovering so much more. But I thought there was also a unique chance in Britain, because we could combine a data bank of genomes together with our National Health Service. And so if we took genomes of 100,000 people who had rare conditions, or relations who had rare conditions, and then you could test the outcomes against what was happening in the NHS, which has got its disadvantages of being one national system, but has its advantages in that you've got an enormous amount of usable data. I thought we could really do some great stuff, and so that's where the project came from. And as Prime Minister, I always tried to boost the life sciences area because I thought it was a key area of economic growth, but also it's on the cusp of so many exciting discoveries about genetics and genomics and about what works and what doesn't. And I suppose the connection to Ivan was, when Ivan was born, I thought we knew much more than we did. So when you hear the description of a disease or a condition, you think, well, surely that means we know what causes it, what the symptoms are, and how we treat them. And the truth is that's not the case, obviously. That was naive of me, I recognize now. We put labels on things without really understanding the causes. And I think your industry is an amazing opportunity, a time of opportunity, to discover what really does cause these things. And that's why I'm very glad to be here today and talking about it.